When David landed his first real job out of college, the feeling was electric. A steady paycheck, a shiny employee badge, and the promise of a grown-up life. But on the second week of onboarding, he found himself staring at a benefits packet that might as well have been written in code. 401k, Roth IRA, HSA. Each acronym felt like a test he didn't study for. He flipped through the papers, wondering what he was supposed to do. Everyone said to invest for the future, but where should he start? Should he go with the 401k because it was through work? Was a Roth IRA better because it was tax-free? And what even was an HSA? Something about healthcare and savings. He tucked the packet into his desk drawer, telling himself he'd figure it out later. But days turned into weeks, and the decision lingered. Every time he heard coworkers talking about their portfolios or watched a YouTube video on investing, the anxiety returned. He didn't want to mess this up. He didn't want to be the guy who ignored his financial future until it was too late. So one evening, he drove to his parents' house. His father, Richard, had worked in finance for over 3 decades. He wasn't flashy, but he was steady, and David knew he'd have answers. They sat at the kitchen table, steam rising from their coffee mugs. David laid it all out, his salary, his benefits, the acronyms that haunted him. Richard listened, then nodded. Okay, he said, let's break it down. But first, let's get one thing clear. You're already ahead of the curve by caring about this now. Most people wait years before they ask these questions. He pulled out a pen and began drawing boxes on a napkin. This is your goal, he said, pointing to the top, financial security. And there are 3 powerful tools that can help you build it. But they each have a different role. He pointed to the first box. The 401k is offered by your employer. It's your first big advantage, especially if they offer a match. That's free money. If you do nothing else, contribute at least enough to get the full match. David leaned in, already feeling the fog lift. This one, Richard said, circling the next box, is the Roth IRA. It's not tied to your job, so you open it yourself. The beauty of the Roth is that you pay taxes now, but your withdrawals later are tax-free. So when you retire, everything in there is yours. David nodded slowly. Tax-free sounded good. And this last one is the HSA, the health savings account. Most people think it's just for medical expenses, but what they miss is that it's one of the most powerful savings tools out there. He explained that the HSA gave triple tax benefits. Contributions were tax-deductible, the money grew tax-free, and withdrawals for medical expenses were also tax-free. If David stayed healthy, he could even use the HSA as a stealth retirement account later. David sat back, feeling the weight of clarity begin to settle in. So which one should I use first? He asked. Richard smiled. That depends on your situation, but there's a smart order most people follow. He raised one finger. Step 1. Always get your 401k match. That's your immediate return. A second finger. Step 2. If you're eligible, contribute to a Roth IRA. You'll thank yourself later for locking in today's tax rates. A third finger. Step 3. If you have access to an HSA and can afford to contribute, do it, especially if your employer chips in. Don't touch it unless you need to. Let it grow. And finally, a fourth finger. Step 4. If you still have money to invest, go back to the 401k and max it out. David took it all in. For the first time, the pieces fit together. That night, he went home and opened a Roth IRA. He increased his 401k contribution to hit the match. He called HR the next morning to learn about his HSA. He finally felt like he had a plan. He also stumbled upon a video while researching that said something that stuck with him. Don't wait for perfect. Start with simple. Before we go any further, make sure to subscribe to Finance Family, where financial literacy is built one story at a time, and your future self says thank you. With every paycheck, David made new choices. He tracked his contributions, watched his investments grow, and each time he saw his retirement balance tick upward, he felt more confident, like he was no longer drifting in the financial fog, but steering with purpose. It wasn't just about retirement. It was about building options, buying freedom, choosing a future where money wasn't a source of stress, but a source of strength. One day, A co-worker named Chris swung by David's desk, waving a benefits sheet with a frown. "Hey man, what do you do with all this?" "Roth, 401k, HSA. It's like another language." David smiled, remembering how overwhelmed he once felt. But now, he walked Chris through it. He drew the same boxes his father once sketched out, explained the same order of priorities, even passed on the same phrase: start with simple. It struck him just how far he'd come. Financial security wasn't a single decision. It was a sum of 100 small ones. Every time he chose to invest instead of spend, every time he cooked at home instead of ordering out, every time he contributed to his HSA instead of ignoring it, it added up. He'd started investing with one goal: retirement. But over time, he discovered it wasn't just about retiring someday. It was about living differently now, more intentionally, with less stress, with more freedom. He remembered a Saturday morning a few months later when he took his laptop out to the porch, pulled up his investment dashboard, and just looked at it. He wasn't a millionaire, but he was on his way. His emergency fund was healthy. His Roth IRA was growing. His 401k had a solid foundation. And his HSA, untouched and steadily climbing, gave him peace of mind. What surprised him most wasn't how much he had saved, but how little he missed the money he used to waste. The takeout meals, the trendy gadgets, the subscriptions he never used. They all seemed less important now. He began planning with purpose. A trip next summer, paid for in cash. A down payment on a house within 2 years. A dream of opening his own business someday, with a cushion that gave him room to take the risk. Financial confidence wasn't about being rich. It was about being ready. Even when unexpected medical expenses popped up, David didn't panic. He had his HSA. He used it without touching his emergency fund. And afterward, he simply kept contributing like he always had. He was no longer reacting to money. He was directing it. One evening, while catching up with his dad, David shared something he hadn't said out loud before. "You know, I used to think all this stuff, retirement plans, savings accounts, was for older people. But now I get it. It's not about age. It's about agency." Richard smiled. That's the secret most people never learn. The conversation reminded David that financial wisdom isn't always obvious. It's passed down, learned, applied. And once you grasp it, you have a responsibility to share it. So he did. He helped his younger sister open her first Roth IRA. He hosted a mini-session with some friends at work over lunch. He even started writing a monthly email to a small group, sharing tips and stories from his own journey. Each message ended the same way: start small, stay steady, build something real. Financial tools may evolve, apps change, laws shift, new acronyms appear, but the principles stay the same. Prioritize what gives you freedom. Understand the power of each tool. And don't be afraid to begin before you're an expert. David didn't need to master everything. He just needed to start. And every day he continued, the path got clearer. He wasn't chasing wealth. He was creating stability. Quietly, consistently, confidently. And in doing so, he proved something powerful, that with a little guidance, a little effort, and the right priorities, anyone can build a future worth looking forward to. If you found David's journey helpful, don't forget to like, share, and comment.